Well, it's the 14th of May. We're going to go through another class. We're still looking at the third section of the short form. So perhaps we'll look at that, have a run through the whole of the third section. We just did the first part of the first section last time. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably have to move around a little bit because the angle of the camera is not wide enough to capture the whole thing, I think. So we'll begin. Take a really good in-breath as usual. The long, slow, gentle out-breath, the closing down. Make a very deliberate and conscious effort to go to sleep inside yourself. And then begin to listen to that deepening sensation in and around the waist. So listening, we're awaking something of a deeper part of ourselves. To listen in and around the waves of movement that come through the center of the body. Then begin to put the mind down into the leg, just prior to sinking into the leg, to energize the muscles of the leg so that they stretch to support the body. So you've got a fluid support. And then we allow the upper body to flow onto the lower body. So that support that rises from the foot through to the waist is increased in terms of pressure by the upper body flowing onto the lower body. So we've got a very smooth wave of lifting and sinking. A very clear separation of upper and lower body. The lower body begins to find support on the ground. That support rises through to the waist and the upper body flows onto the lower body to increase the sense of stretch and as a result pressure. So we're looking for the outer movements to be extremely smooth and accurate. Because this sets the environment in which to train the mind. If the sequences of changes are broken somewhat, we lift the arms and then drop the elbows and shoulders at the same time, we break the waves of movement, that makes it more difficult for a deeper part of the mind to concentrate. So we want the very smooth waves of unbroken waves rippling through the body, sequential waves of activation and deactivation. Then we can begin to train the mind, sets an environment in which we can train the mind. So of course, pulling the mind through the body in the lifting phase to energize the response in the body for the lifting, and then the mind down to de-energize, you might say, in a way, for the body to fall. And then the mind rises back through the body with an increased stretch and pressure that meets in the center of the body, the waist. So the forces that rise from the foot up to the waist and the forces that flow down from the upper body meet in the center. And then of course they expand out from the center back up to the crown of the head and the sole of the foot. We'll change to the second loosening exercise. So take a very good in-breath. Mind down, center down. And then pull smoothly up again through to the crown of the head. So I was asked recently what sometimes we refer to the 4 half arm swings, and just to clarify, from the top, dead set, from the top you might say, that's half an arm swing, and then that's a full half arm swing, that's a full swing. So from the top, go 1 half arm swing, 2 half arm swing, 3 half arm swing, 4 half arm swings. That's 2 full swings. If that's a full swing, then this is a half arm swing. And then that's a full swing again. So from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then lifting 1, 2, 3, 4. Mind down, center down, spine's lengthening. 4, then lifting up through the front of the hips, chest, back of the neck, crown of the head. And ideally the watch changes place each time. 1 time in front, 1 time behind. Sometimes I miss it. That's not quite so important as moving the center smoothly for the 4 half arm swings. So we've got a very smooth lifting and falling of the center. So it lifts once for the 2 lifts of the arm, and it falls once for the 2 falls of the arm. So if you like, the center is moving half as slowly as the arm pulses, or the arms are moving twice as fast as the center. And there's a good opportunity here to concentrate on the pulling up through the body, mind down through the body, releasing and aligning, separation of upper and lower body to really get that sense of the spine lengthening in the initial stages of releasing and aligning. Then of course it compresses. So really a good sense of the head top suspended and the lower body falling away to lengthen the spine. Then the legs pressing into the upper body, compressing the upper body. Then the upper body expanding away. So you get moments of floating, you might say. Then moments of stretching, separation, and then moments of compression. Change to the third loosening exercise. So get a good wave of movement between the feet and the centre. And a big twisting wave through the trunk, through the upper body, in and around the spine more or less. And when you sit back from the front arm, the sitting back pulls through the shoulder, elbow and wrist. And the sinking down and forward from the rear arm, rear leg you might say, rear arm, pulls through the stretching arm. And again we're looking for big twisting waves through the body. Big twisting waves through the upper body, pulled by the turning of the waist. And we change to the fourth loosening exercise. Really good in-breath. Mind down, centre down, spine lengthens, the upper body flows onto the lower body, shoulder blades are dropping, elbows are dropping, wrists are falling through space. Pull the mind up and the front of the hips open. Mind down, centre's falling away, the spine's lengthening. Shoulder blades begin to drop, the upper body's flowing onto the lower body. Pressure's rising through to the waist, front of the hips open, chest, back of the neck, crown of the head. Mind down, centre down. Look for the rising wave of stability, and then bring a wave of lifting through to the hands. Mind down so the centre falls away, spine lengthens, shoulder blades drop, front of the hips open, hands fill with something. Bend the knees, straighten the legs. Bend the knees, concentrate fully in and around the spine, lower back, rising vertebrae by vertebrae through the spine. Pressing out of the right foot, turn the left toes in, over and down to the back foot. When you reconnect to the front foot, sense into the spine and sit back through the spine. Over and down to the back foot, flow down and into the centre. Shoulder blades drop. Rear hip is opening, you can send the mind out, increase the stretching in the back leg. And then settle to the front foot. Push back through the spine. Over and down to the back foot. Flow down and into the centre. So the shoulder blades are dropping to change the shape of the upper body. Rear hip is opening. Rear hip opens more. Rear hip opens more. Settle to the front foot, push back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, flow down and forward. Look for the changes in the upper body as well as the lower body. We'll sit back on this one. Change sides, over and down to the back foot, flowing into the centre, send out the mind from the rear hip to increase the stretching, and then settle to the front foot, energise the spine, sit back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, flow down and into the centre, and send out the mind in such a way that it increases the stretching in the rear leg. When you reconnect to the front foot, energise the spine, sit back. Over and down to the back foot, keep flowing down and forward, shoulder blades drop to change the shape of the upper body. Settle to the front foot, sitting a long way back. Over and down to the back foot. So the rear knee, lower back, shoulder blades, chest, thoracic spine are changing. Okay, sit back on this one. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. So, of course, when we do these exercises, they're never perfect, ever. And so it's a question of trying to refine something within them. Certainly, because I've been doing these videos recently, I look back and review sometimes, I don't watch them all actually, but review sometimes what I've done, and you see, a multitude of things that could be done better. And also when you train, you should feel the things that should be done better as well. So that's something. If when you're training, if everything feels perfect and smooth and wonderful, it probably means you're not listening deeply enough, really. Because what we want is an objective view of where we are, and so that takes a bit of getting used to. And that puts a little bit of pressure on yourself, so it's not everything's beautiful and fluffy all the time. Because sometimes the form, of course, sometimes it feels better than other times, but you should still dig down and know the things that are not working so well for you. Those are the things that we have to change, that we attempt to change, and over a long period of time, slowly they will change. If you put the pressure on, of course, if you don't, they won't. There's no question about it, because we're quite robust in ourselves. It's difficult to change ourselves because of that robustness, a certain stability at a certain level, but that stability may be somewhat unbalanced. So you can find stability, but it doesn't mean to say it's a balanced stability. And I'm not meaning just on a physical level, of course. And so what we need to do is attempt to find a certain a balance between the three centres, put some pressure on to stimulate those centres, and then find a way of refining the things that are not so not working so well for us. So we're going through the third section of the form. I'll probably run through the whole section, but I'll have to shift around a little bit, so there may be a step or two that isn't actually in the form, just because of the shape of the room or the size of the camera angle and things. So the third section begins with the single whip and snake breathe down. So I'll just go quickly through. Relatively quickly. Sit back in the left arm, lengthens, open the left toes. This is a lifting out of the back leg and then a sinking into what was the front leg that becomes the new back leg. And we keep sinking, keep sinking, keep sinking. And step. Sinking to the back leg. So try to keep that long, smooth sinking. And close to the corner and step away. So this is lifting out of the front leg, sinking to the back leg, flowing down and into the centre. And we spiral up, we're lifting out of the back leg, but then sinking back into the back leg. The shoulder blades drop. Look for that centre pressure, for the stability, for the kick. Turning to the left on the ball of the foot, turning to the right on the heel of the front foot. Turning to the left on the ball of the front foot, adjust the front foot, wrist to wrist, still sinking in the back leg. Spiral up and out, which is a slight lifting out of the back leg, then sinking, mind to the foot, mind to the centre, shoulder blades drop for the kick. Small turn to the left and drop to the right, step behind. Sinking to the back leg, spiral up and out, so this is a slight lifting and then sinking down again. Foot, centre, shoulder blades, centre pressure, drop to the left, pull up to the right, brush knee into a step, sinking to the back leg, adjusting the back leg if you can, hip opens, chest opens, hand fills. Sit back through the spine, open the left toes, brush knee into a step, sinking into the back leg as you turn the foot in, hip opens, chest opens, hand fills. Sit back through the spine, or take a step that isn't there normally. Step, bend and punch. Try to get the rear hip pushing through the fist. Sit back and the right hand drops, left hand lifts a little. And when we turn, the left hand lifts because of the pulling through. Stepping, grasp bird's tail, ward off, pull back. Press, of course we're sinking. Sit back through the spine, ready for the push. Sit back. Single whip. Excuse me. So we do that again. So it's quite a big chunk really, quite a big piece of the form, but maybe we'll break more detail out next time, but we'll just go through a broad brush. So snake creeps down, or snake body down. We'll try to get the rear hip pushing through the fingertips, shoulder blades drop. Then push back through the spine. This is lifting out of the back leg to sink into what will be the new back leg. Keep sinking. And step. Just lifting out of the front leg to sink into the back leg. Keep sinking. Sinking, 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 sinking. Close to the corner. What was the back leg becomes the front leg that lifts, and then sinking to the back leg. Keep sinking, keep sinking, keep sinking, keep sinking. Spiral up and out. So this is a slight lifting. Look for the stretch through the trunk and the left arm. And then sinking to the right leg, left leg as you turn to the right. Shoulder blades drop for the kick. Turning to the left, right and left. Keep sinking. Spiral up and out, slight lift, stretching through the trunk and right arm. Turning back, mind to the foot, mind to the centre, shoulder blades dropping for the kick. It's knee height. Turn left and then drop to the right. Step. I'll take a step here, it might ease things a bit. Then spiral up and out. Mind to the foot, mind to the waist, shoulder blades dropping in. Keep sinking for the kick. Turn left, pull up to the right, brush knee to a step. Sinking into the back leg, hip opens, chest opens, hands fill. Connect to the front foot, sit back through the spine. Over and down to the left foot, stepping through with the right. Sinking into the back leg, turning slowly in. Hip opens, chest opens, hands fill. Sit back through the spine, open the right toes, flow down and into the right foot. Stepping through, sinking, so the body's inclined, but you're still sinking into the back leg. Settle to the front foot. Push back through the spine. Left hand lifts as you turn left. Stepping through with the right. Adjusting the back foot, sinking. Push back through the spine. Pull back. Press. Sit back for the push. I may be off camera here, I'm not sure. Sit back and turn. Keep turning left as you sit back. Turn to the right. Spiral up and out, sinking to the back leg, stepping. Single whip. We'll do it this way, orientation this way. I might run out of space, not sure. So, I should have practiced beforehand to see where I am. So snake creeps down. Arms lengthen, drop under the knee, adjusting the back foot as early as you possibly can. Get the upper body flowing down into the lower back so the rear hip is open. I'll do that again because I was gesticulating too much. Snake creeps down. Drop under the knee. Sinking down and in. Push back through the spine. Over and down to the left leg, sinking as you step. Sinking as the knee lifts. Step behind. Pivot on the heel of the front foot. Turn back on the ball, still sinking. Sinking, 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 sinking. Close to the corner, step away. Pivot on the heel of the front foot, ball of the back front foot. Spiral up and up, stretching through the trunk and the left arm, turning to the right. Shoulder blades dropping for the centre pressure and the kick. Turning to the left, right, left. Sinking to the back leg. Spiral up and out. Sinking and turning, stretching through the left arm. Kick. Turning left slightly and then dropping to the right. Step behind. I'll take a step back here. Spiral up and out. Shoulder blades dropping for the kick. Turning to the left, spiraling up and out to the right. Brush knee twist it. Sit a long way back through the spine. Brush knee twist step. Sinking and turning the back leg in. Hip opens, chest opens, hands full. Sit back. Open the right toes. Stepping through for the step, bend and punch. Not sure how well this is working. You're looking back from the back. And then open the left toes, stepping through, grasp bird's tail, ward off, pull back, press, and sit back for the push, move in for the push, sit back and turn, sit away, single whip. Okay. We'll try that again. I'll only know when we look back to see whether I've actually moved off off into a space where you can't see, but we'll try our best. So, single whip. Snake. A little faster. Take a step that's not in the form. Brush knee twist step. Brush knee twist step. Step bend and punch. Grasp bird's tail, ward off. Pull back. Press. And push. So I'll take a look at that later and see if I've disappeared off camera. But for now, we'll do the meditation. So take a very good in-breath. Fill the lungs. Draw the awareness to the crown of the head. On the out-breath, come down through the brain, closing down, as of going to sleep inside yourself, melting down through the chest and trunk. And if that's a genuine melting down, you will increase the pressure in the seat, sliding into the seat pressure. And then spread the awareness out into the room. Then you can pull back to yourself, and then Really fill the lungs again, draw the awareness to the crown of the head. Down through the brain, the closing down, the melting down through the chest and trunk. If that genuinely happens, there'll be an increased pressure in the seat. Spread the awareness out into the room. And beyond the room into the outer streets. So sensing out into what you know is out there. And pull back from that, leaving it distant. Pull back to yourself. And on a good in-breath, fill the lungs. And on the out-breath, allow yourself to drop into that dream state, the dreaming mind. The daydreaming mind cut off from the body and cut off from the outer world. It's in its own bubble, you might say. And then we'll wake up again with a good in-breath. Awareness to the crown of the head, come down through the brain, the closing down again, going to sleep inside yourself. With an attempt to awaken something deeper as you sink down through the chest and trunk, melting into the seat, pressure in the seat, awareness in the room, spread beyond the room and awareness in the outer world. And pull back from the outer world, leaving it distant, pull back from the room, leaving it distant. Pull into yourself, and then a gentle in-breath. On the out-breath, allow yourself to fall into that unfathomably deep space inside yourself. Just allow that to represent your inner world, just falling into that deep space. And then we'll touch into the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. We're looking for the tingling fullness and warmth. So the full concentration into the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet. We look for tingling, fullness, warmth. Spread the awareness around the hands and feet. Capture the backs of the hands, the tops of the feet, the individual fingers and toes. The heat field that jumps the gaps between the fingers and toes and exists around the hands and feet. And then we move that awareness up through the ankles and wrists, capturing the warmth and fullness mainly, smoothly up through the lower arms and legs, moving smoothly up towards the knees and elbows, looking for warmth and fullness, beyond the knees and elbows into the upper arms and upper legs. Capturing the sensations as we move up through to the hips and shoulders. Then just for a moment, sense fully back into the four limbs simultaneously. Look for the thick, warm pulsing inside the limbs. Look for the heat field that spreads beyond the limits of the skin. And we take something of the sense of that thick, warm field. We take it from the shoulders up through the neck to surround the head. So the head now cloaked in a cloud of awareness. But we pull down through the head. Down through the neck, down through the chest and trunk, looking for the deeper sensations inside the body of the energetic systems working. Down to the base between the legs, perineum. And you can even make a small increased muscle tension in and around the perineum as you now gather from all around you a sense of gathering a cloud of light. On an in-breath, that you compress down to a fist-sized cloud of light at the base between the legs. And we'll gather twice more. So on the out breath, you can allow the awareness to spread out around you, out into the heat field, out a little beyond that. And then the gathering from all around you on a gentle in-breath is if gathering a cloud of light and compressing it down to a fist-sized cloud of compressed light at the base between the legs. For a third time, on the out-breath, you can let the awareness spread out around you. Then with a strong intention, pull back in on a gentle in-breath, concentrating the light at the base between the legs. So now we remain concentrated at the base, and we'll begin the 8 paths. We form the intention to lift, and on a gentle in-breath, pull the mind round to the sacrum. Begin to pull up to the spine, lower back, then in and around the spine. Pulled all the way up, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, through the brain and over the top of the head to the crown of the head. And on the out-breath, the flowing down the front centre line, face, throat, chest. Forget the breathing, abdomen, pulling at the base. We'll lift once again, pull strongly round to the sacrum, rise up the spine to the belt line and split. 2 streams of light pulled up the back, either side of the spine. With a strong effort, on the out-breath, the flowing down over the shoulders, forearms, backs of the hands, the middle fingers and into the palms of the hands. Concentrate fully at the palms of the hands. Excuse me. We're looking for warmth and fullness mainly. From there, pull strongly up the inside of each arm. So pulling 2 streams of light up the arms, up onto the chest. And on the out-breath, the flowing down either side of the chest. Forget the breathing, flow down to the belt line, around to the navel, join at the navel, down the front centre line to the base between the legs. Pull strongly up through the central thrusting channel inside the body, up to the height of the solar plexus. The out-breath, the flowing back down the same channel to the base between the legs, spread up over the quad. Begin flowing down the fronts and outsides of the legs. Forget the breathing, fronts and outsides of the knees, fronts and outsides of the shins, down to the crease in the ankle, rise onto the tops of the feet, and run along the tops of the feet to the middle toes, into the soles of the feet. Full concentration, look for warmth and fullness at the soles of the feet. We'll begin to lift again from the pools of energy at the soles of the feet. Lift up the insteps, the inside of the ankles, backs of the calves, inside of the knees, crease of the knees, inside backs of the thighs, rising to the base between the legs, rising on the central channel inside to the height of the navel, and the out-breath of flowing back to the base. So we do the 8 paths twice more, but quite quickly. So concentrated at the base now. So we form the intention to lift. And with a really strong effort inside yourself, pull round to the sacrum, something continuous that rises to the spine, in and around the spine, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, crown of the head. The out-breath flowing down the front centre line, face, throat, chest, abdomen. Pull at the base. Pull strongly up again, round to the sacrum. Rise up the spine to the belt line and split. 2 streams of light pulled up the back. And on the out-breath, flowing down the outsides of the arms, shoulders, arms, backs of the forearms, backs of the hands, middle fingers, palms of the hands. Full concentration. Pull strongly up from there, up the insides of the arms, up onto the chest. The out-breath, the flowing down the 2 sides of the chest. Forget the breathing, down to the belt line, round to the navel, down the front centre line to the base. Pull strongly up through the central channel to the height of the solar plexus. The out-breath, the flowing back down to the base, spread up over the quad, down the fronts and outsides of the thighs, knees, shins, onto the tops of the feet, middle toes, soles of the feet, full concentration in the soles of the feet. And pull up again in the instep, back of the ankle, inside of the calves, crease in the back of the knee, inside of the thighs. Join at the base, rise to the height of the navel, the out-breath back to the base. One more time, perhaps a little quicker even. From the base, pull strongly round to the sacrum, rising through the spine, through to the crown of the head. The out-breath flowing down the front centre line, pulling at the base. Lifting strongly again round to the sacrum, rise up to the spine and belt line and split, 2 streams up the back. Down the outsides of the arms, over the backs of the hands, middle fingers, palms of the hands, full concentration. Pull strongly up from there, the insides of the arms to high up on the chest. Down the 2 sides of the chest to the belt line, join at the navel, front centre line to the base. Pull strongly up to the height of the solar plexus. Flow back to the base, spread up over the quad, down the fronts and outsides of the legs, knees, shins, tops of feet, middle toes, soles of feet. Pull strongly up from there, instep, back of ankle, behind the ankle, calves, backs of the knees, inside thighs, to the base, and then inside to the height of the navel. The out-breath are flowing back to the base. And now with full concentration, we gather the cloud of light in and around the lower body energy centers. So from the base to the height of the navel, like gathering a cloud of light. And then we pull on that cloud of light as if pulling on something unstoppable through the central upper body, pull up to the height of the solar plexus. On the out-breath, we allow the cloud of light to bubble out through the chest, fills the body, fills the heat field that surrounds the body, and let it expand into the arm's length distance to the back, sides and above and below. Gather at the base and pull strongly up again, a really big effort inside yourself. Then expanding out from the chest, cloud of light fills the body, heat field, and expands into the arm's length distance around the body. So listen more into that cloud of light than in the body itself. Then for a 3rd time, gather at the base and pull strongly up. Really big effort in such a way the muscles inside activate. The expanding out through the chest, out through the body heat field and into the arm's length distance. So listen more in that cloud of light now. And then within that cloud of light, begin to move the mind in and around the sphere, as if moving a hand in the water or something, to create swirls and eddies and currents as you move the mind in and around the sphere out into the arm's length distance. And then a second way of activating the intention within that with which we're listening into is to take hold of every point on the sphere as if it's a delicate, elastic, delicate bubble, and pull strongly in 10 centimeters in all directions. Just 10 centimeters. Pull strongly in to compress what's inside. And then let it ripple back out again. So we do that twice more with a strong, concentrated effort. Pull in from all directions. And let it ripple back out in all directions. Third time, pull strongly in. Let it ripple back out. So now we take hold of that large dantian or sphere of light and allow it to gently reduce down to in and around the middle dantian, solar plexus, to the height of the throat, armpit to armpit. So deeply and quietly into the center of the light, centered in the middle dantian. Choose some person. Just spend a moment clarifying who that is. Be very clear about it. Then send a stream of light out from the center of your middle dantian, from the center of your cloud of light, out towards that person. Surround them with the light. You can offer a thought, question or feeling appropriate to such a high level connection, soul to soul connection. So this is like the prayer of the Christians or the thoughts of loving kindness of the Buddhists. Leaving the person surrounded with light and with a sense of respect and gratitude for the connection made. You leave the person surrounded with light and withdraw your attention back to the middle dantian. Let that expand out once again, out around the body into the arm's length distance. Take the cloud of light and allow it to reduce back down to in and around the solar plexus and push it up through the chest. With a big effort, push the cloud of light up through the chest, up through the neck, up into the center of the head. So centered in the upper dantian now, we can allow the cloud of light to expand out into the arm's length distance, but centered in the head. So it has quite a different quality now, centered in the head, but expanded out into the arm's length distance. Allow the cloud of light to reduce once again to surround the head. And then we go deeply and quietly into the center of the light, centered in the upper dantian, with the clear intention to connect to your conscience or inner guide to the conscience. So this part of you only wants you to develop internally. It's not interested in external things. So perhaps the best thing is my teacher suggests is to ask inside yourself at this level what needs to be done to develop yourself. Because this deep part of you knows. What it is you need to do, or if you know what you're working on, then how best to work on it, or how better to work on it. Open yourself up to the possibility of receiving help in dreams or situations created to learn from. And then with thanks and humility, we can close that part of the exercise. Allow the cloud of light to expand out into the arm's length distance once again, still centered in the head, of course. We take the cloud of light and allow it to reduce back down to surround the head. Then with a very clear intention, pull it down from the head. Down through the head, down through the neck, down through the chest. Center it on the middle dantian. And allow the cloud of light to expand out into the arm's length distance, centered on the middle dantian. Concentrate into the palms of the hands now. We look for the tingling fullness warmth. Let that spread simultaneously throughout the whole body. Listen out into the heat field that surrounds the body. Listen right to the edge of the heat field. And then we make our attempt to listen for something that is very difficult to capture at this moment, but we know something's there. Look for something that we know is there, but not quite easy to be seen. Sense for something that we know is there, but it's not quite so easy to sense. And give ourselves a suggestion to keep a connection to this deep part, true part of ourselves. And slowly we can allow the eyes to open. So I had intended to include the 5 clouds of Ni Hua Qing, which we've done on a couple of other videos, I think. So you can do that for yourself sometime. You know, it's the white light in and around the lungs, element metal, the blue light in and around the lower body, the element water, the green light in and around the livers, the element wood, the red light in and around the heart, the element fire, and then back to the middle dantian where the light changes. You change it back to a golden light. It's the element earth. It's been about a week since I did the last video. I just wanted a bit of a break from sitting in front of a camera. Not that I do loads of it, but it's just a bit strange for me still. Just saying that these videos are just for the lockdown period. Just while people are in this kind of special difficult time. It's not really intended that I would continue them after that. Once we're able to train together, classes start up again. I'll dispense with the videos. Actually, my teacher is very clear about, at least 50% of the benefit comes from the energetic state of a group. And when a group gather, of course, the teacher's energy helps to stimulate that, as does the energetic system, the energy of the old students, the longer trained students. So actually, it's more important, really. It's probably about 50% of the benefit comes from that energetic connection when you gather, when we gather. And so these videos are just something to keep something going a little bit for people. Perhaps the newer people need it more than the longer trained people, because they probably have their own practice. So we'll leave it there. Thanks very much, and see you again soon.